Well, that's our time in the Sportage done. We've now done all 4 generations of it, so we're moving on to Kia's big boy, the Sorento, and we're trying to keep things in chronological order again, so we are starting with this, the first generation, a favourite amongst caravanners and so on, so it's going to be interesting to see just how this car compares. Now, it's a lot more modern and a later car than the first gen Sportage that we drove. Remember, that car was introduced in '93, so this is about a decade newer, but still you can see this is a real old school Kia, so it's going to be interesting to see how it compares. We're just at the lovely castle here in Glenveigh. It is of course raining, but that's not dampened our spirits whatsoever, so we're going to rig up, hit the road, and then head on to our lunch spot, which I believe is Kitty Kelly's or something along those lines. A interesting place, so I'm told. Interior wise, this car is a clear attempt at luxury with more leather and soft touch plastic surfaces in here compared with that first generation Sportage. It's certainly a nicer car, but it still does feel like a reasonably cheaply made car. There's just no escaping that, you know, considering the age of this car. It is only about 11 years old. It doesn't feel like a premium product in here, especially considering the fact that we've just come from the brand new Sportage, which is amazing. Now, this car, the seats, they're leather and they're okay. I mean, they're hardly bucket seats. The car's got 117,000 miles on it. Actually seems to have worn it quite well now. One of the other journos warned me about something with these seats. They apparently have a lumbar control that if you touch it, it just apparently just throws you forward in the seat. So it's one of the controls down here. Oh, it's this one. Thank you. Thank you, Lawrie. Do you think they saw that?
You're right.
At casual.
What hurts more, your pride or?
No, my kidneys. Okay, I don't know where the lumbar is. I think maybe they were setting me up.
Based on your experience with the seat, I think just leave it alone.
It's just kind of, it's weird. It doesn't move forward and back, and it just sort of goes. So enough of that. I'm going to leave that well put, and instead we're going to head out. Now on the road, a few things are quite apparent quite quickly. First off, the weather in Ireland changes frighteningly quickly. In fact, between the time it took us to do the drive-by you'll have just seen and this shot, it's gone from raining and pretty grim and horrible to lovely and nice and sunny. So nothing like making that continuity look good, eh? Anyway, despite the fact that we've now gone from a mid-size car to a full-size SUV, I don't feel like I'm actually in something that much bigger, and that's going to have a lot to do with the fact that cars over the years generally have grown. So a car from sort of 15-20 years ago now feels like it's a class down in size anyway, and that's the same pretty much across the board really. This does feel like a really old school car, a bit like that first gen Sportage. It doesn't feel like a car from 2007, it feels like a car from about 1997. You've got the same JVC head unit that they retrofitted to, as the first gen Sportage had that, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah. 2.5
litre diesel engine, 5-speed manual box. It's not really very quick at all. That's foot.
Is that your foot right to the floor?
Flat to the floor.
Oh.
But it does pull. Oh yeah, it pulls though. It's torquey really late on. It's not like a modern turbocharged engine at all. So I can see why the caravanners probably did like it.
Apparently it will pull up a load up to 2,800 kg. So
what?
Yeah, apparently. It was
3 tons?
Almost 3 tons, just under.
That's ridiculous. That's a huge weight.
It's apparently why people kind of fell in love with it, was because it was a really good towing machine.
So you got some fun facts there for us?
A couple. It turns out that this one had lots of work done with other companies. So the suspension tuning was done by Porsche. The four-wheel drive components from BorgWarner, and the shock absorbers and the self-leveling system was Sachs and anti-lock Sachs. Yeah.
This shock absorber.
And the anti-lock brakes and fuel injection system was Bosch.
Oh, Bosch do a lot of that stuff.
So it's a lot of stuff come from other places on this.
Yeah, that's not entirely unusual though, but they're top quality companies.
Yeah.
So that's pretty decent. It's, you know, evidently solidly engineered, and this one does feel nicely put together. Now, is this the one lady owner thing?
Yes, I think this is the one that they. Are you? That's a curb. That's definitely a curb.
Yeah. Now, can you open that, or can you not? Because the guy was saying, oh, there's an issue with
well, you can drive
getting out.
You can just drive down that curb.
Because this is
it
clearly
a 4x4.
Oh yeah, the suspension's a bit soft, isn't it?
I'm not sure if we were
actually. You know, there's a great way to test how soft a suspension is in a car.
What's that? It's quite soft.
It's quite soft. It's still got the indicators on the right hand side. A real old school way of doing it. Okay, so let's see. This is second gear. This is full throttle, by the way. This is foot buried to the floor. Woo. Oh yeah, it really picks up later. Like
for a diesel, though, I kind of expecting the torque much lower down than
you would. Like, it only really starts getting shit done from about 2.5 to 3.
That's different.
Just
that is stunning.
Look at this. This is amazing.
This is magical.
It's incredible how much the scenery has changed over. You know, we've only probably driven like 150 miles in total on this trip so far, because we did a lot of stuff on smaller roads and things yesterday, and this is just wonderful.
Did you ever see the Mystic Knights of Tir Na Nog? It was like a TV series around the same time as Power Rangers. This is the countryside from it. I want to be a Mystic Knight.
This is the suspension in this car. Oh my god.
It's undulating, isn't it?
It's like an old caddy or something.
Is it bad to say that I really like it? It reminds me of
terrible.
It reminds me of the Rolls.
It is like your Rolls Royce. It is. Like, oh, I need to be in a lower gear there as well. Like, it's not happy.
I was wondering why you were slowing down so much.
Let's crack on. Let's see if we can get past this whole dustbin lorry.
I don't understand why there's a dustbin lorry here.
There's no dustbins for miles.
There's no houses or anything anywhere. The only bit of civilization has been the castle we were at.
Yeah, and that's a long way from anything.
That was indeed.
So, fresh from a delightful lamb lunch here at the wonderful Kitty Kelly's, we're now about to get in this, the second generation Sorento. And the interesting thing about the Sorento is that unlike the Sportage, which experienced a massive surge in popularity as the model went on, this really didn't. Sales numbers have continued to hover at about the sort of 10 to 12,000 models per generation sold. So you're only talking about 1,000 to 2,000 units a year sold in the UK. Now, Kia have tried to experiment with the formula a little bit. They've sold a few different versions of this car, but with this generation, they kind of worked out what people want. So they tried offering front-wheel drive models, they tried offering both 5 and 7-seat models, and they quickly worked out that what people really want from the Sorento is 7-seaters with all-wheel drive. So big changes in this car include the fact that it's 200 kilos lighter than the last one, has an all-new and much more up-to-date 2.2 litre diesel common rail direct injection engine. At least I think it's direct injection anyway, certainly common rail. And it's just a lot more efficient, it's more powerful, it's torquier, generally a lot nicer in pretty much every conceivable way. So you take a look inside, you'll notice that it's a big leap on from the first generation car. Not quite the same leap that you experience from the first to second generation of Sportage, but pretty close. Nice quality leathers and everything here. Steering wheel is familiar from the second or third generation of Sportage, and it's a pretty nice place to be. Gearbox is now a 6-speed manual, which feels way nicer than the last car. You still don't have integrated, well, actually you do have a sat nav, but we're not using it. We're using the TomTom because it is a little bit out of date. This does still feel like an older car, unlike the current generation Sorento, but
It's not a bad one at all. This is actually quite a nice place. I don't even mind this weird kind of smoky black effect trim that they've got going on. It actually works kind of well. Still got decent off-road credentials because you have a proper diff lock and plenty of room round the back too. Pretty capacious boot. And you can see that there are seats which hide just about here. So you pull this up and you get seats, but obviously that thing needs to come out. So you get the idea. I mean, I wouldn't put full-size adults and things in the back here, but that's not really what it's for. So yeah, we're gonna head out now. There's Lawrie. Fresh from his cup of tea. How was the tea?
Very nice, actually. It was nice. It went with the cake very well.
Now, you see, the truth is that driving 7 Kias back to back in a short period of time, especially when you're only talking about 2 models, you eventually do start to struggle a little bit for things to talk about. So I thought I'd spice things up here on day 2 by instead doing a challenge. Not just doing a challenge, but one in real time, in the style of a middling TV show from the time that this car was produced, 24. So this car is a 7-seater, meaning it has 2 seats here, 3 seats behind us, and 2 seats behind that. So we're now going to find out just how easy it is, if at all possible, to get my good friend and cameraman Lawrie in one of those back seats. So you don't hit cancel there. Let's chuck you in the back. Let's go.
You mean these back seats, right?
Not those ones. No, no, no.
Do you know I've never been in the back seat of...
In the backpack?
I've never been in like a 7-seater in the back.
Okay. Well, the last time I tried to get in one, it was a Mercedes E-Class, and it was a hilarious failure because they were designed for like small children. Not just children, but small children.
Do you reckon these will make nice souvenirs?
We are not TVing the umbrellas. Asked to borrow one, definitely, like on a permanent basis, but we're not TVing the brolly. Now, I found out earlier that you have to get this out. So how easy is it to move at all? Oh, very easy. Very, very easy. That's a plus point. And I'm gonna, no. I don't think this is the official way of doing this. I'm pretty sure it's not how it's done in the manual.
I'm kind of impressed that you've achieved that.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm an impressive kind of guy, I guess. Now, let's... You know, I think you might actually get in there. So you go around
in
the
what
door.
world do you think that's?
I think you might. So you pass me the camera. I'll take that.
Right.
You put the seat down, clamber over, and then you get easy. Look, there's actually room down there.
Oh God, I am seriously unimpressed with this idea.
A wonderful idea.
God. Yeah, I can't bring the seat.
Yeah. Hang on a minute. I think it's locked. Hang on. You got headroom though. Now, am I going to cross your knees?
My knees.
Your knees?
I need knees. Is that locked? Is that locked?
That's locked there. That's locked there, you see? It locks in place.
I feel more sturdy like this.
How is it, Lawrie?
Tight.
But you're in?
Yes, but I don't think I could do any journey in this. It's really weak. Can we go for a drive like this?
Yeah?
I want to go for a drive like this.
There you go. I'll shut you in then, shall I?
I'm not sure how I feel about this. How do I get out? This is really weird. I don't think I like it.
Oh, you're really far away.
I don't like that either. I don't like being away from you. I feel strange. This is really uncomfortable. We haven't gone anywhere, and it's really uncomfortable.
Is that because you're crushing your knees?
It does. Yeah, well, let's push that up. Oh, what happens if there's people that sat there who want to have the seat back? It's like
They're
being
just upright, aren't they?
Yeah, but they'll be on like it's like being on a flight on in economy, and someone puts the seats back, and suddenly you're crushed.
Yeah, but an economy flight is still a flight.
I'd rather walk. This is okay. It's okay.
That's much better in the back than the Merc that I looked at, because there was zero chance of getting in the Merc.
Look how far away you are.
Hello. I eventually let Lawrie back in the front of the car and told him that he could drive us all the way to our destination for the day, which was another very nice hotel on the west coast of Ireland. Fortunately, this car had a Bluetooth system in it, which meant that I could DJ for the journey.
How are you?
Oh, we got pimp windows.
Yeah, baller. Is that what they say?
Yeah, baller. That's
Baller.
the saying.
Cool kids, yeah?
Yeah.
God, this is a big boot. Where will we put all our stuff? Thank you very much.
Well, you go out.
You're going that way. Thank you.
Lovely, thank you. All right, so cars. Here we are, kids.
Morning, guys.
Final day of the lovely trip out with Kia to discover the Heritage Fleet, and we're finishing actually with the only car that we've actually already driven. This is the 3rd generation Kia Sorento.
We thought it was quite good. When we drove it, we were like, this is actually...
Well, you were quite indifferent to it to begin with, but it was a very nice car for the money.
I think what we went on, it's not a car for us, because we are not looking for SUVs, but as a car goes,
Yeah.
we went, this is actually pretty good.
Yeah. And so we've now got to drive to our first stop where we're picking up a picnic.
Which, yeah.
And we head off to lunch. So what we're going to do, Laurie's going to hop in the driver's seat, and then we are going to tell you guys a little bit more about the current iteration of Kia's biggest car. So let's hit the road and then let's go
Onwards.
home.
I don't want to go home.
I don't want to go home either.
Although after the incident, I think we have to.
Yeah. Lawrie tried to order a full English this morning. And when you get in the driver's seat of the 3rd generation Sorento, there's a few things that mark this car out as being that newer, more premium product that Kia are trying to create. And the most obvious from where I'm sitting is the fact that the central dial down here is now a digital display. I'm generally speaking not a huge fan of them, but I am beginning to warm to them. This car also has a selection of different driving modes selectable by the button down here. Now this one does feel like it has adaptive dampers because you stick it in sport mode, and it certainly rides a lot harsher than it does in comfort. The other mode available to you is Eco, and there's also a smart option which will choose between the other 3 depending on what it thinks that you want. This car has the latest generation of diesel engine, which of course is compliant with all the new super tight regulations, and it delivers a heck of a lot of torque from fairly low down. Kia's 8-speed gearbox, not the ZF unit that I previously thought, is actually pretty decent. Now there's no paddles on the steering wheel, but truth be told, in a car of this size and type, I wouldn't really be expecting them anyway. It's just, you know, not something you buy this kind of car for. However, I would say out of perhaps all of the cars that we've driven, this is maybe the one that rides the best. It strikes a very, very good balance between being comfortable and having that nice supple soft suspension to get you over the lumps and bumps in the road, but also demonstrating enough body control that you can throw it around a couple of corners in a modest fashion and it won't terrify you. So that's a plus, really. And look at these roads too, they are absolutely gorgeous. They are also soaking wet. Now, like the 2nd generation Sorento that we drove yesterday, this car is also available exclusively as a 7-seater with folding back seats that mean you can run this car as basically a 7-seater MPV style thing, 5-seater with a large boot, or a 2-seater with a huge boot, which is probably the configuration that Lawrie and me would actually use this car in. And we were talking earlier about the possibility of him actually buying one of these cars in the future, because although in theory neither of us actually like this type of car, they do make a lot of sense for what he in particular actually does. Travels all over the place, including going to railways and things and getting photographs from places that sometimes are quite inaccessible. I helped him out with a little bit of photography over winter, and when there's snow on the ground and you've got to try and traverse a field, having a car like this could be quite useful, and having that proper full-on diff lock does mean that the car's not going to let you down too badly when it comes to doing a bit of off-roading, especially if you put some fairly serious tyres on it. You also can sleep in the back if you need to. Now, oddly, it's not actually quite as big as the Saab that Lawrie has. For some reason, that car's really big in the back, probably because this has a slightly longer nose, but there's still plenty of room to kip in there. And the seats fold relatively flat, which make things nice and comfy for you. Also, if we go and pick up any more terrible, crappy cars from anywhere, then you can stick a tow hook on the back and you can tow a very large trailer as well. So there's a lot to be said for it. Our fuel economy didn't start off brilliantly, but it is improving as the engine warms up and we move ourselves along.
What are you actually getting?
I am trying to scroll through I'm trying to find if there's a current MPG gauge. I'm not sure there is. But I mean, I'm averaging 26 to the gallon at the moment, which is not very good. However, we are driving it on pretty tight, twisty roads. It's a very big car, and we drove it in the town earlier, so that will have hampered economy. But I suppose the other thing that driving a car like this gives you, that neither Lawrie nor I, well, actually he's used to be fair, is this elevated viewing position, meaning you can see a lot further down the road. He's used to it because he drives lorries most of the time. I don't. I drive sporty cars, so I'm used to basically having my bum scraping along the ground and barely being able to see anything. But it's giving us a very commanding view of this very twisty and entertaining road and the spectacular Irish scenery, which really is quite something.
That is amazing. You over there? Look at the castle! Look at the castle!
So there we go. We've now driven basically one of everything.
Yeah, we have. We've taken everything from the Sportage and the
4 Sportages,
Yeah.
3 Sorentos, and I think our firm favourites so far would be first and last gen Sportage, because the first gen Sportage is just
the first generation Sportage for me is just wonderful.
it's the little car that could, isn't it?
It is, and it's very 90s, and
Every farm should have one.
everyone should have one. Just
Yeah.
everyone.
But then the fourth one, I mean, it's night and day. I mean, to be honest, first and second gen Sportage
They're
are
not
night
the same
and day
car.
different.
They're
No.
not. They're not both.
But that modern one,
There are
that's
Sportage in only name.
That's
aren't they?
big enough, and it does everything you need, and it's really nice inside.
It's a genuinely
and quite well priced.
cool car, and yeah, it's very good value for money.
Yeah.
It drives nice. It gives the impression that it would be very good for pretty much anything.
Yeah. Oh, the Sorento that we were just in, that wasn't the top of the line one.
No, it wasn't. It was high
like
mid-range.
it was like a mid kind of spec, which is why it's missing a couple of things that the Sportage
we
had.
said that.
But for our journey home, we're going to take back, or for the remainder of our journey, because we've only got one more stop to make. We're currently here at Ashford Castle,
Which is just amazingly gorgeous.
It's
the
stunning.
The view behind us, if I go out the way,
yeah,
is
it's
just
cool. Kia have an
amazing.
award-winning PR team,
Yes.
and it's no surprise to either of us why
No, we
that
haven't.
is. They're pretty good.
the
So
only surprise is why we're here.
No, it's the power to surprise. That's what it's all about. So, speaking of that, we're going to take back, I think, our sleeper hit of the week. A car that neither of us were particularly enamoured with to
We
start
weren't excited
with.
with, but it really grew on us.
But we had a great time, and for a car to run back to the airport, basically cross Ireland,
Yep.
I can't think of much better. We are taking back the somewhat unsexy looking, but the very, very functional
second gen Sorento. Because it doesn't look great in this colour, I'll admit, and it's a basic car, but it has everything we need. It's got sat nav, it's got Bluetooth, so we can have our banging tunes on once again.
It's going to be a party.
It's comfy, it's big.
I'm not actually sure how much we enjoyed the car was factored by the music.
And this car, 13 plate, this is still under factory warranty.
That's great, isn't it?
That's amazing.
It's really, really great. But no, it's nice. I would have one of these. I would.
Yeah. So we're going to hit the road now. We got one last thing to do. I'm sorry, he's singing. Sorry, Lawrie, that's copyrighted material you're singing. Just less of that. And also, you know, there's people here that probably pay money to not listen to that sort of tripe. Let's get out of here.
Right.
So the last stop of the trip is a little picnic. Now, they didn't set a particular place for us to have this. It's basically the only part of the trip that hasn't been kind of explicitly laid out for us. And that means it's up to us to find a nice destination. We have a limited time, so a limited amount of room to explore, but I looked on the map and found a place that looked like it could provide us with a good view. And so we've come to here, to Kusan Point, the edge of a lake where we can get some lovely shots of the car. We're going to shoot the intro that you saw, and while Laurie's sorting himself out, I'll show you guys what sort of a lovely spread one can get if you do an event with the award-winning PR team at Kia. So we've got some potato crisps. Lawrie doesn't like cheese and onion, and I ate mine already, so I'm having these crisps. Got a little slice of brownie. We have a little bit of sausage roll. Very nice, that. Unidentified wrap on top. Looks maybe cheesy, not sure. Down below, chicken sandwich. That's pretty good. We have some orange juice, a couple of apples, and a bottle of water. Just about everything we need. So, gonna wait for my partner in crime to get back here, and we are gonna have our last lunch. I don't know about you, but I've had worse weeks.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And I'm not sure anyone's ever looked this happy sat in the back of a 10-year-old Kia before.
Well, no, we're setting new records, I think, for happiness in Kias.
They do that, those people at Kia.
They're good. I like them.